West Hill United is a progressive spiritual community where how you live is more important than what you believe. West Hill United is a people, a place, an idea. We are a community living out of a progressive faith, striving to make a positive difference in our own lives, the lives of others, and the world. Join us Sundays at 10:30 a.m. or connect with us at any time.
Good morning and welcome, everyone. Glad to see you here joining us today. We will be continuing in our series whose theme is connection. It's about connecting to ourselves, each other, and our world. Last week, Mark Reimers spoke about our connection to the animal kingdom. This week, Ann Jackson will speak about the special bond that some of us have with our pets. Looking forward to that. Everyone on Zoom, we'd like to do our West Hill welcome and wave to each other so that we're all together. Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'd like to start with the land acknowledgement. West Hill is located in Treaty 20 and in the area of the Williams Treaties of 1923. These are the lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and were previously occupied by the Seneca and Huron-Wendat First Nations. There are over 600 First Nations in Canada, which represent more than 50 distinct Indigenous languages across our country. Many of us are continuing to learn about the enormous contributions Indigenous people have made to our lives and the value and wisdom in the First Nations teachings of seven grandfathers. Children are taught to practice living their lives with wisdom, love, respect, bravery, honesty, humility, and truth. Values that enable people to live in a way that promotes harmony and balance with everyone and everything in creation. We invite you to visit the website of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nations, which provide rich history of their people and their present-day activities. We're going to do the readings now, and typically at the end I will say offer it as wisdom for the journey, and you're invited to respond with, "May we walk in its light." The first reading is from Elias Weiss Friedman. He's a professional social media dog photographer and author whose media name is The Doggist. After a hard day, a car cutting me off, getting soaked in the rain, people being unkind, I come home and I see his face, and the bad feelings just wash away. Dogs are generous with their love and direct eye contact. Our relationship with our dog or cat is less complex than with our human besties. The second, third, and fourth readings are one-liners from Bill Murray, Mark Twain, and Albert Schweitzer. Bill Murray says, "I'm suspicious of people who don't like dogs, but I trust a dog when it doesn't like a person." Cute. Mark Twain says, "The more I learn about people, the more I love my dog." Albert Schweitzer says, until one extends one's circle of compassion to all living things, humanity will not find peace. Offered as wisdom on our respective personal spiritual journeys.
May we walk in his light.
Our speaker today is Ann Jackson, my life partner and active member of this congregation. Ann first came to West Hill as a little girl in the 60s when this was a little white church. Not this one, but the little wooden one. All that's left is that little top of the church that's just out the door when you come in. That's just sort of the symbol of what used to be here. She taught Sunday school for a little while, and then, of course, like most of us, didn't go to church for a few decades. However, With her long-standing relationship with the Cruikshank family, most of her life, she got to hear from Marion Cruikshank how she raved and sang the praises of this Greta Vosper minister at West Hill. So when the time came about 17 and a half years ago, this is where we decided to come back and check out church. Anne was curious about this minister, and remains curious to this day by the kind of experience that we have here at West Hill each Sunday and other times. Anne has served on several committees over the years and currently serves on the Celebrations Committee under Chair John McKechnie, with members Babette, Ruth, Glenn, and staff members Aidan, Annie, Joe, and Scott, and, new to the team, Martin. These are the people that put together our planned gatherings every week here on Sunday, and also on other events like this, other special events like the Singing in the Season and the Longest Night. So when they were developing this connection series and the idea of people and pets came up, Anne said, "Oh, I could do that." Well, Joe Pittenger says, "Well, I was going to do that." And I says, no, I'll do that. So here she is going to do this. And I just wanted to say she was inspired by her attachment to her childhood pets that were somewhere in here. No, it's all right, honey. I got a Cocker Spaniel named Lady. Oh, here it is, and a tab cat named Toby. That's right. So drawing on that, she is going to give us her perspective today. So without any further ado, please give a warm welcome to our guest speaker today, Anne Jackson.
Thank you, Kevin. You got most of that right. And I'd like to just say thank you to Scott for your choice of songs, lovely, and Babette for, as always, for the delivery. Thank you. Yes, today we're going to talk about the human-animal bond. Yes, we will be talking about pets, but it will be talk about dogs without the dogma. I call it like I see it, so don't ferret about it. I'm feeling feline good today. This is a perfectly clawful perspective. And I'd just like to thank Chris Avis for providing inspiration to deliver those lines. It truly was Chris who inspired me to. Anyway, now I'm going to just check. All right. Charles Darwin said, "The love for all living creatures is the most noble attribute of humans." Last week, Dr. Mark Rimas gave us some understanding of long-term relationships within the animal kingdom, animal to animal, including parenting relations, as well as strategic alliances, and even sweet friendships within animal groups. Humans also need meaningful connections to survive. We are the only species in the world that keeps pets. In these divisive times, it is common for humans to form long-lasting relationships with non-humans. These are not only alliances for survival, but many place their relationship with their pet in the best friend category and even the parenting category. This is our friend Ron, who lives across the street. He is sitting with his best friend, Gordy. Some people prefer the company of their pet over the company of other humans. As we heard Mark Twain say, the more I learn about people, the more I love my dog. And you heard Bill Murray say that he's suspicious of people who don't like dogs, but he trusts his dog when it doesn't like a person. One of my favorite quotes is Robert Brohl, who gets a little bit more spiritual when he says, "The difference between friends and pets is that friends we allow into our company, pets we allow into our solitude." So how many pets are we talking about? Today, there are roughly 41 million people living in Canada who share nearly 30 million pets. These include, but are certainly not limited to, fish, turtles, lizards, hamsters, gerbils, parrots, birds, horses, mice, and 8.5 million dogs and nearly 9 million cats. And interesting, when I was looking at the data, Canada is the only country with more cats than dogs. The US has the highest pet population in the world, with 66% of households owning a pet in 94 million homes. And the number of multi-pet ownership is increasing. It's interesting to see that shared pet parenting is also on the increase. These are people with joint custody of pets, so the pets travel back and forth between households. Sometimes this is happily arranged between friends, and sometimes it's arranged unhappily, and it is contracted legally. Biologist Eli Wilson promoted the idea that people have an innate attraction to other living things. We are particularly drawn to young animals as their features are similar to baby humans. Big eyes, chubby cheeks, tiny nose, round face. Veteran science broadcaster Jay Ingram suggests that baby humans and animals have evolved to be born cute as a survival mechanism. This makes evolutionary sense because we need to look after our young to make sure that they survive. That cuteness may in fact matter to one who might consider them their next lunch. Aren't these faces adorable? A University of Arkansas at Little Rock study found that urban raccoons, for which those living in Toronto area are certainly familiar with, whether you like it or not, are showing signs of domestication. Specifically, their snouts are shorter than their rural counterparts. This physical trait is linked to the domestication syndrome resulting from their increased proximity to human food. Domesticated animals become less aggressive toward humans over time. They gradually develop a relationship in which people provide for them in exchange for them becoming cuter and less mean. Scientists say the full domestication of an animal is a process that can take thousands of years. This photo suggests otherwise. It is believed that domesticated dogs evolved from wolves. Beginning 2,000 years ago, humans and wolves teamed up in a mutually beneficial relationship to hunt and protect each other in a harsh environment when humans were hunters, not farmers. And this is a close relation, a wolf dog. One theory is that human population is as big as it is today because of dogs. Once dogs were domesticated, sheep, pigs, horses, and cattle followed, making it possible for humans to become the dominant species on Earth. But when did we start inviting our pets into our homes? In her TED Talk, The Human-Animal Bond, veterinarian Susan Little says, "We are so close to our pets, recent studies surveys show the majority of pet owners sleep in the same bed as their pets, and that this is a very close relationship. This relationship has changed over our own lifetimes. Just a generation ago, the majority of pets lived outside. Do you remember having a dog house? And the dog that lived in there, his name was Snoopy. I know Jean Hamill always loved this. That one's for Jean. In rural areas, dogs and cats live in barns. Susan believes that improved veterinarian science has controlled diseases and parasites, such as ticks and fleas and intestinal worms, improving the health of our pets and allowing us to invite them inside our homes. Let me introduce the doggist, Elias Weiss Friedman. He started an Instagram account in 2013 to share photographs and stories about dogs. This was well before he was a dog owner. Elias believes that dogs make people's lives better, and he wanted to share the stories that supported his understandings of dogs. Now, with over 11 million followers and 50,000 photos later since the last 12 years, Elias can work on this project full-time. I'm not sure quite how that works, but I know it's financially lucrative when you have that many followers. Here are some photos that Elias has shared. He spotted a woman with this dog in a backpack, and then she offered to take him out of the backpack. And you'll recognize this fellow. Elias just happened to run into Stephen Colbert, and Stephen actually invited him into his studio. Got lots of pictures of Stephen and Benny. And this is one of my favorite encounters that I came across when I was checking it out. This is Audrey, and we'll see a little more of her in a bit. Dr. Laurie Santos is a popular cognitive scientist and professor at Yale and director of Yale's Canine Cognition Laboratory. She credits the doggist with this quote: "Sometimes dog content is the single strand of wire tethering our society to decency and sanity." I became familiar with her during the pandemic and really like her research. She has a podcast all about happiness. So anyway, let's look at some reasons for this powerful bonding of humans, of people with their animals. This is Donna from our congregation and her bestie. Look at those eyes looking right into the camera. Did you know that simply petting or making eye contact with an animal can increase oxytocin? This is the bonding hormone, similar to what happens between parents and children. Pets also lower cortisol, the stress hormone, reducing the heart rate and creating a sense of calm and safety. This is Laurel with Kylie. Pets provide emotional support that comes from unconditional affection, consistent, non-judgmental companionships. Pets can sense human emotions and respond in comforting ways. This is Barb's Shelby, another sweetie. Pets provide companionship. They reduce loneliness. They provide routine. Caring for a pet adds structure to daily life and provide responsibility and purpose. Pets create identity. Have you ever talked to anyone who talked about themselves as a dog person or perhaps a cat parent? I have a friend who has 4 cats, and she definitely calls herself a cat lady. We've heard that term before. Unlike animals, pets' communication is nonverbal, but strong, and they use body language with all of their body. Expressions and behavior just exudes all of their body. This kind of expression can create a deep, intuitive bond. Here's another picture of Audrey. Audrey from the Doggist Instagram account. Audrey is a 13-year-old terrier. She's missing a few teeth, so her tongue just has that cute little way it sticks out. Her mom says the best thing about Audrey is coming home after having a bad day, and you walk through the door, and Audrey acts like she's saying, "I thought I'd never see you again. I'm so happy you're back." "I feel like I don't deserve this dog," she said. Pets help us engage socially within the community. Walking dogs or cats, visiting parks increases social interaction. Pets are good for starting up conversation. They make it easier to connect with people. Many pets are treated as family members. They teach children responsibility and routine. Pets can even be a representation of our values by embodying ideas of loyalty, innocence, comfort, empathy, and non-judgment. There is a new short show streaming on CBC Gem called The Assembly. I stumbled across it a couple of weeks ago, and there were it is a group of autistic and neurodivergent interviewers who ask unpredictable, probing, and direct questions to celebrities in a no-holds-barred interview. The following is an excerpt from the interview with Jan Arden. The interviewer and Jan talk about their powerful bonds with their pets. Let's hope that it works. Ian, can you press start, or is it? Yeah, I can do that. And Ian, can you get volume? He's given it a try. It's just a minute and a half, but if not, I can maybe try and act it out. Just so you know, Ian's working on his own today, and he's been doing a great job, but he's had a lot of challenges thrown at him. Would it have Jan on there? Oh, he's going directly to the stick and not the presentation. Yeah, try it and see. We would have liked to have tried this earlier. Sorry about that. We're getting a little show of all the steps that are required. Ian, if you like, we can come back to it at the end. We can give it a try. No worries. Let's come back to the original presentation, and you can just leave Jan's photo up there, and you can play it without the audio. But I can tell you that the interviewer calls her cat her husband, and Jan speaks passionately about a dog that she had for 12 years and allows her to watch anything she wants on television. And she told us how she cried harder and longer when she lost that dog than she did for both of her adult parents. Elderly parents, I should say. Okay, we're going to need to go back to the presentation, Ian. I think this might be the... Okay. Oh, it's going to take us through. There's the... Can we fast forward that? I'll carry on. Dr. John Bradshaw is an annual... Okay, we'll just leave it right there. Dr. John Bradshaw is an annual behavior expert with the University of Bristol in the UK. He is author of The Science Behind Why People Love Animals and Others Couldn't Care Less. He claims that over half of the households in Britain alone include some kind of pet. Today, roughly 13.5 million of those are dogs, while cats make up 12.5 million. He says pets cost money, they cost time, and yet they are not considered a luxury, but a rather deeply loved part of the family. But be that as it may, Bradshaw says some people simply aren't interested in having a pet and are strongly opposed. And he asks, why is this the case? Here you will see John McKechnie with his bestie friend, Cody. It's actually his son's dog. And you'll also notice that Anne is nowhere to be seen. In modern societies, pets are most often unproductive and don't serve a purpose other than those purposes that we talked about. Pets are an unnecessary extra responsibility. To some, pets can feel unnatural and illogical. A past negative experience, such as a nasty bite, scratch, or an animal attack, can establish fear. Allergies are a real problem for some, like Kevin. Not having control of your personal environment, the untidiness and dust and damage, can be a problem. Fear or phobia can cause real discomfort. The unpredictability of cats, in particular, can be problematic. People unfamiliar with animal behavior may misread body language, and this can be frightening. What an animal sees as playful may feel threatening to some who are inexperienced around them. Okay, I'm having problems forwarding to the next slide. Really want to do this. There we go. Kevin is a practical person. Our eldest child here, this is a picture of Karen when she was about 10 years old. She begged us for a dog. We compromised with a hamster. This is her with Mr. Lewis. But we said, there's a condition here. She must sign a contract to clean Mr. Lewis's cage at least once a week. She soon learned that this was a disgusting job. There are many practical reasons for not wanting a pet. Pets can destroy furniture, floors, cause accidents, and smell up our garbage. Good care requires responsibility, time, and money. How much money does it cost? Here's a picture of dog walkers. Some people pay thousands of dollars to have their dog walked. There's a long list of startup and daily costs. Sometimes the unexpected can cost thousands. Our neighbor's dog, Morgan, Susan's dog, ate a grease-soaked gravel. You can see why it ate the gravel, because it was soaked in grease. Someone threw out grease. The medical bill was very large, as you can imagine. And then there's training and boarding, of course, dog walking. Our friend's daughter made a living out of dog walking. And the dog walker had one client, that being Jesselyn. Pets are big business. This is a picture of the big pet store in the UK. Reports show that pets are impacting on our resources by eating more meat, creating more excrement, contributing to greenhouse gases. Raw meat for pets is a booming business because people want what's best for their dogs and their pets. I'm going to talk a little bit about municipal planning and how pets impact that. This is a picture of Birdsey Park Fountain. It's in a predominant area on Front Street, near right across from the St. Lawrence Centre for the Arts. There are 27 dog sculptures and one very large cat. And there's a golden bone at the top of the sculpture. It's very beautiful, and of course, dogs are really welcome there. Municipalities must ensure pets, primarily dogs, are considered in parks planning and other shared community spaces. The City of Toronto published just this year its Dogs Off-Leash strategy for managing designated off-leash dog areas. Because residents of the city are either advocates for owners to keep their dogs on leashes in public spaces and parks, or they are promoting more areas where dogs can run free of constraint. Toronto has invested over $5 million in creating and improving off-leash areas since 2010 and has another $10 million capital invested for the next decade. I know as a past employee of the City of Toronto with the Parks and Recreation Department that the city consults with its public often and wisely to get input for capital investment. And at the time I retired, which was 11 years ago, the Dogs Off-Leash consultations were the most lively meetings in the history of the department, with two sides, dog owners and non-dog owners wanting to protect their small children and elderly. People are very passionate about their pets. This is a picture of dogs running freely in a dogs off-leash area. Today, the City of Toronto boasts 81 designated off-leash areas, with 13 more planned by 2027. And finally, I want to talk about service animals. Angela Moe gives a talk about how animals can be trained to help the well-being of patients in therapeutic endeavors. There are 3 categories of service dogs in therapeutic settings. These are service assistant animals, therapy animals, and emotional support animals. The first category, service assistance animals, are ones that we have been around the longest. We're a little bit more familiar. You'll see perhaps a blind person with a cane and a service animal with them. They're wearing a bib that says, "I am working." They receive a high level of training. They receive specific training to perform specific tasks, like walking across a street at a crosswalk. They provide comfort and support to one individual, and they cost upwards of $25,000 due to the cost of training. The Doggist, I spoke of earlier, has done a series about service assistance animals who have helped veterans with PTSD. He talked about meeting Sharon and her dog Eddie, a black lab, who has turned on her lights in her home, picked up her keys, and nudged her awake when she is having a nightmare. Eddie has transformed Sharon to become verbal again and no longer needing anxiety medication. The second category is the therapy animal. Here's a picture of Jack a few years ago, Kathleen's Jack, wearing his therapy bib. A therapy animal is a pet first and a working dog second. They are highly socialized and they receive specific training to support this. They're trained to provide supports to people in a variety of settings, such as schools, libraries, counseling centers, and support groups, first responders, debriefing, shelters, and so on. They go where they are wanted, and they go where they're invited and needed. Emotional support animals are a pet only. They receive no specific training. They give comfort and support to their owner. They may wear a bib that says they're an emotional support animal, ESA, or it may say that they're working. They are loved by their owner, and they provide a calming influence. The owner obtains a doctor's note in order to bring their pet where pets otherwise may not be allowed, such as in a housing circumstance or on an aircraft or a restaurant. Today, we are seeing more pets in public spaces, coffee houses, pubs, libraries, and the like. Angela Moe says it is unfair and even unethical to place animals in positions for which they are not trained or equipped. Today, according to the Doggist, today vests on dogs say service dog or emotional support dog, and that the majority of these vests were purchased off the internet. Dogs wearing them may improve the owner's mood, but they are not necessarily doing the things that a specifically trained dog does. For example, they're not necessarily silent or calm under a seat in an airplane or in restaurants. And he asks if this lack of training violates the rights of others and violates the rights of the dog themselves. Angela says it is important that both the human and animal within this bond be honored in the way it was meant to be. Every owner needs to be respectful of their animal's needs. That means considering what is not only best for the human, but what is best for the animal as well. There are different kinds of training beyond the therapeutic kind. This is a picture of Tom O'Sullivan and his dog, his sheepdog Tess. They're from Ireland and they're champions. Kevin and I were able to enjoy meeting them, and they when we were in Ireland, and they gave a demonstration. It was really great. And then there is Memphis, a trained police dog, and I think you might recognize his human partner. So we're going to give it a try. It might come without. Oh, we're good. Ian says, "Okay, way you go." Well, we all know that that's Aaron with his former dog, Memphis. And Aaron, we're really glad that you shared that with us. And it's quite astounding, the depth of your careers. We knew you were RCMP, but we didn't know you were a dog trainer as such. But that was great. I'm going to just show you now, I think, some pictures from the congregation now. Perhaps I'll finish with my closing lines, which is this. For me personally, this research has helped me see how utterly beautiful the human bond can be. May joy be in our hearts. I stole some lines from the music. And let's share in the celebration when a healthy bond is formed, especially when it helps our fellow people, humans, through their tough times. As well, it is quite understandable why the bond is absent for others. So may we seek to understand, and may wisdom prevail, also from our music. And just like the song says, may compassion be our journey. Let's try to recognize the needs of the animal, even when the need is in conflict with our own need. Let's respect the feelings and rights of humans and non-humans alike. So let's see if we can see the rest of the photos of the congregation has been kind enough to send in some pictures. Let's hope we can get those on screen. This is the most important part of this presentation. There's a picture of young Jack. And Kathleen, there's Jack again. And I think that might be Kathleen's picture up on the screen today as well. And there's a younger Kathleen and a younger Murphy. This is her great friend before Jack. I'm not sure who's cat? Emily's cat. And the cat's name is Lily? Lily, beauty. Here's a picture of Donna's cat. Frank's cat, Jasper. This is Joe's KC. Look at those eyes. He knows how to pose. And this is, of course, Lola. We heard about Lola last week. She knows her way home. That's a picture with Mel's daughter and Lola out in BC in the Rockies. And this is their dog, Shannon. This is Ruth's sleepy cat, Charlie. There's Charlie with Linda Strange. There's Martin's kitty. What's Gigi. There's Donna's upside down cat. Florence, aquatic family. I would be staring at that all day long if that was in my home. So beautiful. Shannon and Chris's turtle. It's nice to see that turtle. Shannon and Chris's pets. Look at those dogs, the dog and cat getting along so well. On the bed. Aaron's cat, again, piercing eyes. Aaron's sleepy cats. And Memphis. Chris Bean, and this is Chris's cats, Bean and Harry. They're windowsill sleeping, as you can see. This is Bean with Lucy. The cat's at the door. I'm not going to say that out loud. It was worth sending, Chris. There's Dan's cat. Is Dan here today? I don't know what his name is, the cat. Walt and Ingrid's pups. Or maybe grandpups.
That was Lucky in a former
picture
cat
of
of ours.
Donna's cat. Look at those eyes. Donna's friends. Donna's got lots of pets. and Mike's grandpups, Cody and Peggy. Is that the last slide? No. Oh, this is Annie's dog, Cassie. Great shot. And you'll love the next one. She sent it to me. Cassie is big, sweet, and loving, and certainly looks that way, especially the big part and the loving part.
Become a sustaining champion of West Hill United's work by committing to an automatic monthly donation. Learn more or donate now through Canada Helps.